Okay guys, so this is Isabella here and welcome to a new video. So today's video I will be talking about audiobooks, physical books, and ebooks, and my personal preferences / my uses for them. So yeah. So in the beginning of my book journey, I was really against ebooks. I love a physical book. I love buying physical books. I love turning pages. I just love everything about books. But reading on a tablet just seemed kind of off. Like, it's something you do for fan fiction, not for books. But anyway, even audiobooks I wasn't a fan. I'm starting to get more into them. But still not a huge fan of them, but I just have my uses for them occasionally. So I'm just gonna go over my stuff for that. So let's start with audiobooks first, since I have a bigger discussion about that specifically. So my problem with audiobooks that I recently discovered is that I can't listen to an audiobook while doing other things, because if I miss something, my OCD will make me constantly go back and rewind. And so it takes even longer to read a book for me personally if I do that. And the whole point of audiobooks is to get through books faster, at least for me sometimes. And so yeah, that just defeats the whole purpose if I'm slowing down because of audiobooks and my OCD. So I found a solution for this, thankfully. So basically I need to follow along with a physical book or an ebook and pay 100% attention to it. So that fixes the problem. But I can't just listen to audiobooks and do other things. That just doesn't work for my brain. So that's one thing I had an issue with audiobooks, but I've resolved it. The second thing about audiobooks that I use them for is they're good for getting through books that need to be read for school, that I don't really want to read. Because sometimes school, they give you stuff that you really don't want to read. So having it read to me is much easier. But also books that I want to read, but don't want to read at my snail pace of reading and get through it quickly. So as I mentioned before, audiobooks are a great way to get through books that I want to read more quickly, like some classics. I like to try and get through them quicker than a fantasy book, for instance, where I want to be immersed in the world and take my time with it. So yeah. And then the last thing about audiobooks is they're also good to get through books that I'm struggling to get through, but do want to finish. So it's like a book that, let's say War Storm by Victoria Aveyard. That book was so big and I was kind of bored, but I wanted to finish the story because I'd already read the 3 books in the series. That was the final book. So I wanted to finish the series, but I didn't want to read it myself at my slow pace. So I was like, I'll just have it read to me in an audiobook. And I got through it and finished it. So, yeah, it wasn't bad enough to DNF, but it was bad enough that I was just like, I just want to get through this. I'm not enjoying going through this slowly. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about audiobooks. Next, we are going to talk about my favorite thing, and that's physical books, because they are still my favorite medium of reading. Always will be, I think. So yeah, physical books. My process for physical books has changed because I'm trying not to buy as many, because I am on a book buying ban, but also because in the long run I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on books every year. But I don't really do that, but still. Basically what I do now, my system, is that I buy books that I know I really want to read and that I'll love, but based on research. So before I buy a book, I kind of do research on it. I see more than one video review on YouTube. I watch a couple. I listen to people talk about the tropes, the plot, and see if it's up my alley. And if I'm really excited about it, then I will absolutely go to the store and buy it right away. those are the books that I'm 100% sure that I'm gonna love, and so usually I'm right, and usually I love them. So that's what I do for that. Then for physical books that let's say I want to read, but I don't necessarily want to buy them. Basically, I go to the library, which I say support your local libraries, guys. They're a great way to get books that, if you want to read, but you don't want to like buy because you're afraid that you might not enjoy the book. That's what I personally do. I go check at my library to see if they have the book that I want to read, so I can have a physical copy and not have to buy a physical copy, so I can still read physical books that I want to read. But yeah, the library's for books I want to read, but books that I'm unsure I'll love, or not. So it's a little way for me to get through some books that I want to read but don't necessarily think I'm gonna love. So it's me being cautious. That's basically it. But yeah, I do book thrifting, which is something I highly recommend as well. Recycling is very important. Highly recommend that. I love going to thrift stores and buying books as well. I found a couple of classics sometimes really popular books for cheap. So I highly recommend going to thrift stores to buy physical books as well, because you definitely save a lot of money. Sometimes not a lot, because in Canada/Quebec the prices are still meh, but they're still better than if you buy a brand new book. So that's another way I get physical books, and I'm trying to save money. So yeah, plus gift cards from family help. Next topic we're going to talk about is something I've been very against since the beginning, and that is ebooks. But as of late, one of my close friends got a Kobo, and I started experiencing FOMO. And then I went on YouTube and started watching Sunny Kim on YouTube for her reading videos, and she reads on her Kindle exclusively, and I was starting to feel more FOMO. So I was like, let me take this old iPad mini and turn it into an e-reader. So that's what I did. I've been using it lately, and it's been really great. I've been having fun, and I'm like, how is reading ebooks fun? But it is, so let's talk about them. Ebooks are still a last resort for me. They're never my first resort. My first resort will always be physical. But if I don't want to buy the books, as I said before, because I'm not sure if I'm going to love them, and let's say I go to the library to try and find it, and they don't have it, then I'll resort to getting the ebook, because ebooks tend to be cheaper, so it's not so bad. So that's what I tend to do. I go to get the ebook on my iPad mini, and then I just read the book there. So that's basically most of the reason why I use this. I have some classics on here that I can't find, so I'm not sure I'm gonna like them, so I just put them on here, and yeah, I'm gonna get to them at some point. Another reason I wanted to have like my iPad as like an e-reader is because I wanted to have a separate device to read on that I could signal to my brain that this is for books, because my iPad Pro is where I read all my fan fiction, and fan fiction is also digital, so I don't want, my brain gets confused, and it starts to think that books are fan fiction if it's all on the same device. So when I pick this up, it signals my brain that these are books. This is not fan fiction. But on my iPad Pro, it's definitely fan fiction. So I was trying to make sure my brain doesn't mix up the things I'm reading and stuff like that. Also, I don't go on trips very often, but I've heard ebooks are great because you can bring as many books as you want on a plane or anywhere you want, and it doesn't weigh much as it opposed to bringing a bunch of books that weigh something each. So if I ever go on a trip where I'm required to have a light bag. Definitely gonna bring this along, but I'm still gonna bring one physical book at least on my carry-on or something. But it's definitely good to have it for traveling and going places that can't bring a big book. A tablet's definitely the way to go. So yeah, that's all I have to say about audiobooks, physical books, ebooks. Let me know what you guys think, what your opinions are, what are your uses for these different mediums of consuming books, which one's your favorite. Let me know in the comments down below. And one last thing, audiobooks are reading. When you were a child, your mother read to you books. That was still counted as reading. So audiobooks are basically the same thing, just a stranger is reading it to you. So don't be mean. Let's all just be nice to each other in this book community. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.